Oh, that's right. Oh, we're back again for another episode of The Letter. We're in creepy shit, guys. We're in Shitsville with Ash. Well, let's just jump back into it. I'm telling you right now, if I have an opportunity to go figure out what is crying, I ain't doing it. No one cries like that. Odd when a house this big should have a large staff. You'd think there'll be one or two roaming about for some late night chores or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Shouldn't they have security posted inside as well?
You would think. Unless their security means the butler, though I doubt Scumbag Zatslopper. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own wife. The things he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. He's also the kind who will do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants, be a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted McCullough's help. Next to the people who own this, she's probably the one who's most familiar with the mansion. But the cons of bringing her outweigh the pros. She's better off somewhere a quick exit's in sight. With no tag-along, I only have to worry about myself, watch my back.
But
Selfish,
necessary.
I know. In the same manner, this whole plan, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when this house layout is fairly simple, almost mirrored with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place in ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be too hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me. Where the woman cries are leading me. It's gonna lead me to the attic, ain't it? Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training. Speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
But nothing's ever that simple, isn't it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet crosses the next room, something shifts. Oh, in a flash, nearly without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye. I almost miss it. One moment there's red, and the next... Yeah, I'm standing alone in the foyer. For a brief instance, I suppose, glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pooled on the floor, no eyes watching my every moment. Only the same cries, gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with a voice. No. No. Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Hope? Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. Place is not entirely empty then. A better question now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I've yet to see hide or hair of them. Not knowing the whereabouts puts me on the edge. I have to be careful not to make any noise or be seen. Maybe the wife, though one can't really tell if it's her, the way the walls echo her voice. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching my every movement. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. And is back. No, I try to shake it off. No, but the uneasy sensation has already made home in the pit of my stomach dread, and it only grows deeper the closer I get to her. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind battering the windows, nor the sheets of rain pelting down the roof. Maybe we've already sealed Ash's fate a while ago. Maybe there's no way out of this. Maybe we're already doomed to what we're already set in. Maybe. Let's continue. For a fleeting second, I found myself wishing for Scumbag to simply show up. Just somebody that's not the fucking ghost. I don't get too far down. Abruptly, the cry stopped, replacing it with,
She's here.
nope,
She's here, Mother. She's going to take me.
I'm not falling for this again. I fell for this with Zach.
Don't leave, Mother. Mother. I don't want to go with her. Tell her to go
No.
away. Mother! Mother, she's here! Help!
That can't be good. Adrenaline overcomes me in a rush. No. In no 2 heartbeats, my feet's already moving before any sense of catch up or doubt creeps up to me. God damn it, Ash. My hands ready at the holster as I hastily set off for the far side of the hall. One alarmed footstep after another while struggling to keep the sense of panic at bay. A door lies ajar at the end and coming from the floor above.
She's going to hurt me! Help me!
That's not how an echo works. I do not hesitate. Moving in, despite the lack of light, the steep stairs, or the thick layer of dust kicking up with my every step. I pause only a moment upon reaching the top. Then, without wasting a second, I push the door open. No! No, 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 no. She sits in the middle of the room, shoulders hunched, shaking. No, 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 no. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. It's as if she has heard neither my footsteps nor the soft creaking of the door, continuing undisturbed, like I'm standing in a time far removed from here. She doesn't even flinch when I call out to her. No, 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 no.
Are you
No,
alright?
no, 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 no. Ash. No.
Mother, I've done it.
No.
Take me with you, please.
Oh, did I fuck this over a while ago?
I can still hear her. She's here.
No.
Help me! Help me, please!
Nope. Belatedly, I notice the blood on her hands. If it's the same one drenching the whole attic, I'd rather not know. How the whole room has ended up like this is the least of my problems at the moment. Even the single human body doesn't have this much blood. So, bodies? The thought sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach. Does Wright even know about this? He's bad news, alright, but this is beneath him. He'll definitely balk at first sight of this. Anyone will. Yet the woman lingers here, unmoved by the sight, letting her sobs fill the room. Repeating the words over and over again like a prayer of salvation. To whom? The mess of parchment she had left on the floor? Just what the hell is happening?
Hey, lady. You?
No. The rest of that question never makes it out. I don't even see it coming. Should have been more aware and on guard, really. But there's little I can do when a well-placed blow to the back of my knees. Uh-oh. Momentum alone sends me barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone. The room's as normal as it can be. Not above the pain suddenly shooting up the side when I hit the floor. I don't even get the chance to get my bearings back when a hard enough blow to the stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my... Oh, sorry. Heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although, before I'm able to turn, level it, and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. Gasp. Grunt. Cry of pain slips past my mouth. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and it slides uselessly under the bed. Agony suddenly explodes my chin, and jerking loose a sharp cry and pain stars fill the edges of my vision. A brief moment of regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCullough when a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I'm still trying to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck, except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this
the butler.
mansion lately.
Writes Butler. Shit. I'm gonna
Tell
kick
me,
this.
what did you do with the madam?
I'm gonna kick the shit out of this Butler. I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hannah Wright?
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes. Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
So the Butler has no idea, but she's gone somewhere. The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I manage to ride it out and spit a miss.
You.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you, it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear. At this point, my lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me, and without meaning to...
Get away from him!
Oh, it's Isabella. Hearing that voice has been doused with a bucket full of ice cold water. Familiar, too familiar. More importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. Oh, and right there stands Isabella, of all people, a rolling pin on one and a standard issue police taser on the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCullough. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she's ever used one, even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, this guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them, and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey. Untrained or not, she does not plan to leave here without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's just not something we need right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her safe. But the chance of that happening grows slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know. Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it. What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow after me? Who else came with her? Rebecca? Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is, but did she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser, for fuck's sake? More than worrying for my life, it's hers I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. Yeah, well, look where it got us. This is why I'd rather be the one to take the consequences. I don't even want to think what this bastard might do to her after he's done with me. Though my voice comes off nearly a croak, I try to tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far away from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here!
I'm gonna kick the shit out of this Butler. Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out! 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 Val!
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
God damn it. He laughs, too cruel, too unforgiving. Why is everyone an idiot? The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. You won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though, I still don't exactly understand what's happening. Isabella shouts. Not a cry of pain, not a yell of panic, but one that's resolute, firm, perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than any I've heard from her before.
Try me! Ashton, duck!
I do. More out of instinct and desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind could fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. The telltale sound of a taser being discharged sounds through the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, followed by the thud of something blunt connecting solidly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. God damn, what the fuck? From my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler buckles. He spasms once, then without much fuss, falls face first beside me, knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity and a fucking rolling pin. He'll be out for a while. I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room... whatever. A long, gradual process of tension lifting. For countless seconds, we remain quiet, with only our short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline ebb away in both of us. Not a true repose by any means, but simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. We're still inside the mansion, in immediate danger. We still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere, white and piercing. The sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir first, once recovered, having regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable as is moving, although every small motion causes a wince. There will be bruising tomorrow. I can manage. Retrieving my gun from underneath the bed is easy, but only with some effort am I able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of the handcuff on his wrist while fastening the other on the bed frame. That should keep him restrained for a few hours in case he wakes up prematurely. All through this, Isabella stays quiet. In fact, she hasn't even moved since. Her hands still shake and taking in long draws of breath while she stares vacantly in front of her, almost as if she's in shock. Perhaps she isn't even expecting any result, spurred only on by some kind of desperation. Now it's sinking in. Unfortunately, we need to get moving. We don't have time to wait for everything to register in our heads. Kneeling in front of her, I give her a light shake.
Belle, we need to go. We can't stay here.
Slowly she turns, staring at me with wide eyes. Worry flickers briefly in them along with something ineffable. Then, without warning, she lifts a hand and slaps me right across the face. Damn! The sound of it cracks the air, shattering the silence like a fragile glass breaking. Despite the familiar rumble of thunder outside, it manages to ring louder above the storm. I don't even know what hit me until my head has already snapped back and my cheek stings with her anger. And it is anger. In spite of the stillness and the lack of words afterwards. Not fuming though, never fuming, but the kind that burns lightly and soundlessly. A frustration instead of a seething rage. One that ebbs just as quickly as it flows, and once the tides subside, there's only that gleam in her eyes, warm, steadfast, unflinching. Quietly, I brace myself for the truth underneath that gaze. It slips from her lips, softly, never fading under the sound of the rain still falling fast, if not from the weight in each
What
of
is
her words.
wrong with you?
Belle,
If your bartender friend hadn't slipped up, no one would have known where you went.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and
You almost died! He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died. And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer!
She trails off, drags in one drawn breath from another. A brief lull as her frustration finally gives, dissolves into something more pensive and somber. Her shoulders droop, and though her voice rises hoarse and weary in her next words, there's only certainty.
You count too, you know. When I said, that night when I told you I don't want to lose anyone anymore, that includes you, alive. We're still here, Ash. You have us.
Once their meaning fall, roar, it does not with a force or a dam breaking or a raging storm, but with the gentle, steady warmth of a hearth burning, an ember easy, slowly, lightly rising and giving. Not alone, never alone. It lingers, even as we both drift back into silence and her words take root, because in the gratitude that swells after is another warmth blooming. Pleasant, welcoming, like finding home, like finding ourselves in a haze the squall has left, creating something fragile. It's in her eyes, in the way she holds her gaze, unwavering, in the way she carries herself despite sitting amidst a place she fears, in the way she keeps herself from trembling and falling apart, because fear is inconsequential when people she cares about are at risk. A change. She realizes that now, holds on to it. Another little thing, another small thing from her that may go unnoticed and pass by quietly, but will eventually amount to a lot of things. Tiny gestures that mean nothing at first, but begin to matter to me one day, until, despite myself, a small smile slips from my lips as the same warmth from earlier unfurls in my chest. Unhurried, familiar, and bright from all these years I've carried it, but I've never given the words for it.
Stop smiling like that, Ashton. I'm not done scolding you.
But this time they come easy.
I heard all of it. Don't worry.
Are you really okay? That guy hit you a little too hard on the head. Here, let me...
I reach up just as she extends a hand towards my face, catching her wrist in a light grip, drawing it close and folding her hands in between mine. Although her expression does shift into mild confusion, she does not pull away like I'm expecting. She simply stares at me, searching. For her to allow a gesture from me that perhaps too close, it tells a lot of how far things have already shifted in the past few years. Cradled in mine, her hand still trembles. Most of the tremors have already subsided by now, though I doubt it'll fade away this soon, even as I trace the lines of her palm in what I hope is a comforting gesture.
I'm sorry. No.
For what? Is this about what happened tonight? You can apologize later, when...
No. Well, this too, but it's not just about this. It's for a lot of things. For calling you clumsy, and careless, and a scatterbrain.
Are you sure this isn't a concussion?
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you don't usually apologize.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. For all the times I've teased you and made you cry.
Unexpectedly, her fingers tighten around mine, our hands falling between as something tender shifts in air. Another exhale. Another drawn breath eases out of me, filled with every hesitation and uncertainties, but when I finally choose to break the silence, it's only when I know that what will slip past my mouth is the one truth I will hold against the world.
But for all those callous words, despite all those, there's nothing I don't love about you. In fact, those things, I love those. And everything. Everything that's you.
For a long moment, she offers no response. Her grip on my hands merely tightens. Although my heart's pounding hard against my ears, I take a chance and look up. Slightly leaning away and giving her a cautious glance, more than ready to hear her rejection. Instead, I find her on the brink of tears with an almost unreadable expression on her face. When she notices my eyes on hers, she hastily reaches up and wipes it with the back of her hands. It does not keep them from falling, and soon they trail down her cheeks despite her best attempts. To say this is a panic shooting right up my base of my throat is a complete understatement. This isn't how I expected this to go.
Hey, Belle, did I say something wrong?
Why would you? I don't even have anything.
What?
I don't have anything. I'm not rich. I live off instant noodles almost every day. I can't do anything properly without someone helping me. Except maybe if it's drawing, but that's beside the point. I didn't didn't even get to graduate, even if I was so close. I'm not even sure that scholarship will get me anywhere. And ever since I came here, in the 5 years you've known me, I've got us into all kinds of trouble. So why would you even say that? I'm not...
Maybe it's the moment itself that spurs me to do it. Desperation, the fear of almost dying. But I've already said more than what I'll usually allow myself, and I might as well finish before I lose my nerve. No matter the reason, I reach out for her. Gently, so unlike the way she barged into our lives so many years ago, the way she came in would leave a terrible impression on anyone, really, and yet it's people like her that just don't easily forget. It's them that gradually worms their ways into a person's life until the very thought of losing them becomes unbearable. Isabella trails off once my palms brush against her tear-stained cheeks, but she neither pulls nor pushes my hands off. Rather, she looks at me wide-eyed with another searching look. I only have one answer for that.
It doesn't matter. All of that is still you, and that's enough for me.
No promises, only truths, perhaps the only genuine thing I can offer her at the moment. We don't even know what will happen or if we'll survive this. So instead of words, I lean in, our foreheads briefly touching, before brushing my lips tenderly against hers. Kiss is nothing intimate by any means. There's a brief second once our lips touch when she tenses, unsure, a long moment of not knowing what to do with her hands until she settles them on me, slipping it up my arm in a light grip, too afraid to make a mistake or hurt. But for now, it's enough. As close as we can come to it. Rather than give our empty promises or grand proclamations, we have this. Something she soon understands as her shoulders ease and she permits me to draw her closer, deepening the kiss. Softly and gently, a short second of simply allowing the world to melt away from us, and this to roar above anything else, like every little thing between us that has built up this single point in time. A moment that becomes ours and ours alone. Something to hold close until all of this is over. We part later to the sounds of the world rushing back at us, thunder, rain, lightning, all to remind us both of the reality we have to face. Enough to dampen the mood and force back the worry I've temporarily forgotten. Yet when I glance back at Isabella, all she has for me is a small smile, bright and hopeful, and it is strength enough. Once that I try to draw from when I rest my forehead against hers one last time before leading us both out, her hand in mine. Power still hasn't come back when we make our way downstairs, tricky considering the stairs to the attic are a bit low. One misstep and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that's all that'll happen to you. With the stairs this steep, a broken neck is a likely outcome. Thankfully, Isabella's here to guide me through the darkness. She knows this place better than anyone after all, in spite of all the misfortunes it has brought us.
Careful, the floorboards over there aren't very sturdy.
Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on. Creaks and suddenly breaks, the pieces falling somewhere with a dull
Oh
thump.
shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, my foot.
See? I told you so. You never listen to me.
They renovated the whole mansion and they can't even replace one tiny part of the house.
Why don't you file a complaint to BRC then? I'm sure they'd be thrilled to hear it. You know it was such a rush job.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why, up until now, the only person we've encountered from this house is the butler. Yeah, it's a good point, thank you. Although, to some degree, that makes sense. He is in charge of running the place. Yeah, but where's everyone else, bro? Where are the other servants, though? I'm in this storm. Wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption if they're all asleep. The round I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters. However, they also have heightened security. Brushed it off earlier, thinking they'll be posted a lot closer where the master's room are, but the second floor devoid of anyone as well. As if every inhabitant of this place has suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's the scumbag? Where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. We're still in the shit, boys. The fact that we're here right in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once we reach the landing. Isabella swings the door open. Oh. She pauses abruptly right in the doorway that I almost run into her. A look of confusion in her as she looks wildly around the place, wordlessly. With each turn and shift her eyes, her shoulders grow tenser and a look of apprehension slowly dawns on her.
Isabella, what are you...
We aren't supposed to be here.
Sure enough, when I look up, we're standing right in the kitchen, pots, pans, and all. We end up back. Oh, in one corner, Rebecca watches, almost surprised to see us. McCullough also with her, of course. She didn't listen to me if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although color and strength seem to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. The empty plate on the counter appears to have played a part on that. Good news, I guess. As for the other one, however, relieved as I am that she had the sense to wait, not venture deeper into the mansion, I can't keep but roll my eyes at her, although she preempts me with
Did
a
you really
reprimand on
think
my
you
own.
could hide this from us?
I had to, Becca.
You know, if Isabella hadn't asked G and that old guy didn't slip, none of us would even have any idea.
Yeah,
So the first thing the two of you did is go straight here,
Of course not, but Isabella insisted.
and it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
what's my mic picking up?
I tried, all right. She was out the door before I could say anything.
And how did you guys even get in here?
That's weird. Both of them exchange a look, one that I absolutely don't like. In the end, it's Isabella who speaks up, albeit with a bit of hesitation.
We heard someone scream, Ash. It led us here.
Without warning, the door behind us slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get these people out of here. Luckily, we're in the kitchen and we have two ways out. The back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door, as if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Rebecca also gives it a few tries, but even with the help from Isabella, it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we all simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Blood. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and every inch of the floor. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually, the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent. Around us, every object, including the cupboards, has started to rattle as well. The sounds from outside, foreboding rumble of thunder, and even the howling winds have begun to fade away, replaced by whispers, shouts, and cries of pain. Though inaudible, each beat and note bombards every crevice of my head with vague images and sounds. There's no time to make sense of everything, however. I'm already shouting, fueled purely by adrenaline, barking orders and making a break for the door that leads to the next room, the dining. It should take us straight to the foyer, where the main door is.
Move! Run!
Right in front of us, the mansion has started to change, and we're in the thick of it. However, instead of the dining room like it's supposed to open to, it's something else now, right? Yeah, it's just a clusterfuck now. The bedroom welcomes us instead, an image that only lasts but a second before blood begins to seep into the room. Filtering into the walls, trickling from every nook and cranny, everywhere furniture shakes and every beam rattles. Before we can even step back from the horror gradually unfolding in front of us, the door slams shut. Now we're in here. A loud thud, bringing a sense of dread and chill creeping up in each of us. Along with it is another realization this whole place is reordering itself. And with the door closed tight behind us, showing no signs of budging even through sheer force, there's no choice but to go forward and hope to all God that'll lead us to an exit. What about right off the balcony? No? Until then, running the only thing we can do, spurred by nothing but fear and a sense of desperation to live.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
I'ma kick the shit out of this ghost, man, I'm telling you. But with each room we pass, it only becomes apparent that the house has no intention of letting us leave. It's lured all of us here and we've fallen for it. Now it's playing a little game with us, a sordid form of amusement, For who? Their laughters are the only thing we can hear. Gotta figure this out. With every hall we cross and door we slide open, the hope of finding an exit merely dwindles. The gun at my hip is useless here. I am useless here. Some fucking genius I am. Some fucking person to trust I am. All of those, they mean nothing in the face of the unknown.
You finally figured it out, huh, Ashton Frey? Just give it up.
Oh.
And you are going to die alone.
Yeah. I'm gonna pistol whip this ghost in 5 seconds if I
Shut
see
your
it.
fucking mouth!
Absolutely.
You know it's true, though.
Nah.
All of it.
It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word because you're already aware of
It's
it.
just the same shit you've been spewing.
Can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
Let's go.
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Everyone else still alive. The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker our chances simply get. Except Zach. Rest in peace, Zach. Wails and screams fill our ears as we pass by, our words from a time and people long gone, laced with nothing but pure agony, calling out, reaching for us. Their voice is almost too real, as if we're not only ones trapped here, that there are others begging for release from this wretched place. Or maybe it's all just a show of taste what will eventually be. Souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare.
Mother, I've done nothing. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Is this what the curse is, what it means for all of us? That the letter, not a morbid cry for help, but an invitation? Beckoning for unsuspecting souls to be dragged into this place's horrors, to be put under centuries and centuries of torment and agony? Suddenly dying a painful death seems preferable, enticing that ending up here, or perhaps it's all the same. Still, hope worms its way into me, not a usual thing for someone like me, but after going through countless doors and corridors, every little sign of hope I'm willing to cling to as long as it'll get us out of here. We're back in the dining room again. How long we've been running, how long since we left the kitchen. Oh, just tear this place down. At some point, I've lost track of time with the windows barred tight and the sounds lifting in the air, nothing but shouts and shrieks. It's impossible to tell. Nothing that it matters when it's end. Shelves and furnishing bar the door, each stained with blood and gore, as if the situation isn't desperate, as if find a different way out. Dude, okay, but look at this. Look at this. You're telling me you can't budge chairs? You telling me that you can't fit through this fucking opening in the door? Shut up. But there's still a gap left at the topmost part of the person to go through as long as you use the shelves to climb.
It's an exit, all right.
From here, I can spy the familiar walls of the foyer. Only relief washes over me. It's trapped though. Although my legs have been strained, taut by all the running, and every bone and muscle in my body aches, there's only an easing, a sense of tension relieving, while energy back flows through me again at the sight of an end. No sooner I'm leading us out of it. Isabella helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap before giving a hand to Rebecca. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for her to go through. We're gonna get shut
Go
off.
ahead.
We're gonna
I'll
get
watch your
cut
back.
off. We're gonna get cut off. Surprisingly, she does that without any protest. Not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, this whole place. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until everyone's on the other side of this nightmare. Safe. For all I know, this may just be a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Isabella makes it to the other side and I'm following after her. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and I climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through the nightmare, fleeting as it is, but for some reason something's still nagging at me, Call it a detective's instinct or my training or whatnot. I have a feeling something's going to happen and catch us unprepared. Unconsciously, before dropping down on the better side of the dream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. My feet haven't even landed firmly on
Had
the
I
floor.
known there would be a party in my own home tonight,
Dude,
I would have opened a bloody bottle or two.
What's with this guy?
People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
Chill seeps into every vein in my body. Fucking Luke Wright. All of a sudden, every ache, every pain returns to me tenfold, and my knees threaten to buckle at the sound of his voice. Though it appears friendly, I know it is anything but. One does not spend investigating a man like him for over a year and holding a grudge against him for more, without knowing everything about him. His quirks, his habits, I'm familiar with all of them, and right now, Luke fucking Red is beyond pissed. Shifting my gaze upwards is nearly too painful, knowing the danger. Not to me, but to those who have been lured in here by the curse. Oh, okay. The handgun catches my eyes first, next to the smarmy smile on his face. It's sight enough to lodge a painful thorn in up my throat. I've been too complacent, too focused on other things. I've completely set aside the fact that the scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those good intentions, curses, and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his house. The question is, if he's even aware that this whole of his household will somehow disappear and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with people he knows among the crowd, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot everyone in sight. Hold on.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
I gotta say this. Importante.
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home?
That's not it.
What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
Sir, please.
Oh, please, what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. But really now,
Oh, people need to
this
stop
is how
bringing
you
this
want
up.
to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves a handgun at them as if it's just a mere toy, and his words are no threat. The safety's off on his, nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture, I draw my own and level it at him, finger on the trigger and ready to release the safety catch it, in case things go south. He is quick to train his
now,
own.
Feathers, manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Shooting him right now will be so worth it. The way he stares at me like a damn pest, but this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer as much as I loathe him. I'm not the kind of person who will kill in cold blood for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At the moment, however, we're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more we're wasting and losing, something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? Scum is so full of himself, prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him? Fuck. What do I do, guys? I mean, I already have my gun pointed at him. Let's just disarm him. Let's just go
Sorry
for it.
about this. I really don't have time for you.
I don't think twice. Within the span of a heartbeat, I'm moving and pulling on the trigger. 2 shots, quick succession, echoes across the whole foyer, and both hit their mark true. Bright recoils with a sharp cry of pain. His pistol falls uselessly to the floor with a loud clank, followed by drops of blood from his bleeding wrist.
You insolent!
He's down in 2 successive steps, although before I could knock him on a solid ray hook, an agonized wail burst through the tense air. This bitch fucking sits around and waits. I ain't dealing with this. I'm out of here. Loud enough to echo along the dark, empty halls of the mansion. We'll pick him up, okay? You'll understand later. Piercing enough for every occupant in the foyer to cover their ears and close their eyes. Then, all at once, there are images. Some are merely vague, blurry shapes, while the others display vividly. However, there's no time to make sense of it all. Amidst the discordant noise, something whizzes past by, too close, too swift. A brief, keen blur that barely registers in my eyes, like an arrow quickly finding its mark and heading straight for.
Isabella!
Oh, time slows to a stop. In one moment of clarity, my body moves on its own, heart pounding hard against my ears, blood rushing through every vein. Spurred only by adrenaline and a desperate bid to reach her crouched, unsuspecting form, and I don't even get to yell for her a second time. I don't even get to call her name.
Ashton!
Ooh, an acute pain burst. All of a sudden, everything around me feels too sharp. Even the act of drawing a deep breath alone stings and burns my lungs while an intense ache slowly spreads throughout my whole body. Numb. I feel numb. Hand comes away bleeding, shaking while I can only let out a wet, ragged laugh. Soon, without warning, I'm going down on my knees and the whole world is pitching sideways. An arm, warm and welcoming, is on me the second I stumble back, catching my fall. Isabella has always been warm, after all.
Ash?
Her hands are shaking, her lips are quivering, while she looks at me with wide, fearful eyes. Tears have started to form at their corners, threatening to spill at any moment, and a pang of regret hits me at the sight of it.
Ashton!
Even for the last time, I can't ever give her a reason to smile.
Hey, you're crying again. Don't give me that look. Told you. Doesn't suit you.
Cautiously, despite the stabbing ache shooting up from every moment, I reach a trembling hand up to wipe them away. Crying has never looked good on her, after all. My arms never make it far, however. Midway, she meets my hand, catching it in a light grip as if she's too afraid I might break. Though, I already am. Just slowly. Pain is easing, everything's going cold.
Shut up, Ash! Don't move, alright? Stop talking! We'll get you a doctor! Someone! Just stay put! Just stay put, okay? You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'd like to agree with that on her, reassure her. But I've gone through a lot, survived a lot of shit. Doesn't take a genius to figure out what I've done for. Whatever hit me, a hole to the chest is fatal enough. I don't think I'm going to bounce back from this. Dying.
I'm sorry.
I should be afraid in this moment. Yet, I'm not. No fear. No dread. Just an acceptance. And a deep regret as she appears before us, her voice echoing throughout the foyer. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands there, pale as death, an expression eerily calm. I can't help but think there's something wrong. My gaze darts around, wary of her, but soon enough I realize what's wrong when she speaks. She's wrong.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
If the last thing I have to do is kick the shit out of this woman before I die, for all of eternity or whatever, I am gonna absolutely beat the shit out of her. I swear to God.
Hannah?
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. What do you think you're doing out here this late?
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, fading breath, and a lone heart that beats hard one last time. She got one thing wrong, though. I did not die alone. You've unlocked a memory fragment. What? Oh, we're on to Luke. God damn it. I wonder what would have happened if I didn't disarm him. Maybe he would have shot somebody else, though. I would have lost somebody. Damn it. Fuck. Lost 2 people. Dead. Just dead. Another long and exhausting day at work, and I still have much to do. Sometimes I wonder why I still bother. I can surely afford to retire, leave the businesses to trusted colleagues. Even if they make enough money to only break even, I have enough money to last us a lifetime or 3. I could send 7 children to college if I had any. Not that I plan to. But the problem is obvious, isn't it? I don't trust any of the lot. It has to be me because they might get it wrong. I don't want to retire and suddenly wake up one day only to find that everything has gone down the shitter. Maybe I should hire McCullough as a personal assistant. She seems capable and trustworthy enough. It's hard to find someone who isn't trying to butter me up and trying to curry favor with me.
Christ, I'm knackered. Why do I have to kill to have fewer problems around here?
Your own wife, apparently. I'm not really allowed to complain. I chose this path, but that doesn't stop me from doing it, so as I throw my shoes off and let them land wherever they please. Petty maybe, but there's a certain joy that comes with stepping on the carpeted staircase with nothing but my socks on. Well, we're on October 29th. I'll accept no distractions. I can call up Shrokin. Got a suitcase filled with contracts to check over and sign before I can retire for the night. I'm also waiting for a call from Suarez for any news update regarding the IT leaks, a real cause for concern. It's the reason there have been investigations on me. Had it been a new thing, I would let it run its course. But it's been going on far too long, near 3 years for me to just take on a passive role in the affair. I've only kept my head this far because I managed to mitigate most of the damage with several favors. And some grand puppeteer to ensure the high-profile law enforcement and government officials keep me out of trouble. But who knows how long I could stay that way. Powers are shifting and the current can be unpredictable. This whole exit business is already shaking things up and upsetting the balance. It's only with great care that I stay where I am, but the smallest of efforts can unravel all that I've done. It certainly won't help if I'm being accused of things, whether I'm guilty of them or not, because some computer chump thinks he can play a game with me. And well, shit, it'll be a miracle if I can get to sleep tonight, though that is hardly surprising news. But before I can even take a step into the study, a voice from the bedroom calls out to me.
Luke, darling, you're finally home. Why don't you be a dear and come in here?
And I hesitate for a moment. I do have work to be done, but I suppose greeting my wife as I get home is only proper. I've already been gone for most of the week unless I needed to be here for work on the house. So, with a sigh, I head towards the bedroom. Oh, the feeling that came from me as I entered the room is definitely mixed. For one, I am somewhat floored by the sight that greets me. Then there is confusion. Exasperation is strangely there as well. As if to be expected, there is desire. She is a divine goddess, or rather, she is a horrible temptress. What man wouldn't be attracted by that? I guess they could be a sausage jockey. Yeah, that's it. But that is besides the point. It's not relevant in the situation I found myself in right now. This is nice and all, but why does she have to go and do this now of all nights?
My love, the bed is awfully cold without you.
Slutty Hannah. Achievement unlocked. The matter of the fact is I've never seen Hannah all primmed up like this since our first year of marriage. There must be something special to bring out such an act. Wedding anniversary has already passed, so that can't be it. Hannah's birthday is in April and mine is in August, so it can't be any of those either. So what in bloody blazes brought this on? Is Hannah drunk?
Why don't you just, take a rest? I'll be busy all night.
Is that answer too cold? I don't mean it to be. She certainly doesn't look amused.
Come on over and stop being a boring old man. Work can wait.
Maybe I can entertain her, just for a while. It is a tempting idea. But no, I'll never get any work done that way. And imagine how horrible it would be to get a call from Suarez in the middle of a shag. That would certainly kill the mood and piss me off more than anything. It'll be even worse if Kylie steals the phone from him, as the little ankle biter is prone to do, unless her father is locked in a room. Just thinking about the possibility is weird and turns me off from everything, from even trying anything.
I'm afraid it can't, Buttercup. But hey, it's Sunday tomorrow. We can go out for dinner right after. Somewhere nice like that Italian restaurant you wanted to try out?
Why don't we skip dinner tomorrow and eat out tonight?
Oh.
Whoa there, why don't we slow down? Looks like someone is in the mood, but hey, there's a time and place for everything.
Oh, I grew up in a house where sex was a constant thing. It's just a thing that the body does, more or less. Sometimes it comes with social implications, supposedly with paper-thin walls, and a mother with that horrid job of hers made me think that way. Oh, but I learned later on that isn't the case for everybody. Suffice to say, this is really odd for her at least. Quite sure she's never grown up in a sexually promiscuous home like I did. She grew up with a well-to-do, normal, and decent family. And in the 7 years we've been married, she's never acted this aggressive about sex. We do it when the mood comes to that, but never like this, and when I'm in the mood and she isn't, that's about the time I go around town to have my back scratched. Got nothing to be guilty of, I believe, as long as it's just lust and not love. Yep, that's it, sure. That's a good way to explain it, I guess. I'm just really confused trying to come to grips with reality as it is presented
Well,
to
this
me.
is the place, but now is not a good time, darling. Like I said, I have plenty of important work to be done. Any other night, this would be great. Excellent, splendid. But not right now, okay?
I suppose if that's what you want. I can have my prince another time.
Chill runs up my spine as she calls me that again. My prince. Is she going through some midlife crisis? I know she's not the sort of play pretend with that sort of thing. Now that I think about it, this is probably some dream. Perhaps I've been exposed to something. Jesus, I've gone and fucked my own brain over. That could be the only explanation, or at least the only explanation my mind wants to accept right now. But if it were, I should probably accept her offer. No? But on the off chance it isn't, I shouldn't. Either choice fucks someone over, quite literally at that.
Yes, that's right. Another time. So if you could put your dress back on. It's really chilly right now, isn't it? You don't want to catch a cold if we're going out tomorrow.
Thankfully, she's done as she sold, which puts this strange episode to an abrupt end. Unfortunately, she had to put her dress back on so painfully and seductively slow, I suspect she knows the things she does to me. As much as I like to have the engine running, there are things to be done and to make sure we can keep on enjoying a glamorous life as we
I'm
do.
starting to think you don't find me beautiful anymore.
Is that what brought this on, then? You are an angel. A goddess, Hana. Of all the flowers in this garden, you are by far the most beautiful and rarest of them all. Every bloke would want to be with you, and every lady would want to be you. I'm sure it goes the other way around, too. I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how you put up with the likes of me. I'm really sorry, darling, but it really isn't a good time.
I don't quite think little Luke is up for some fun just yet either. Is that what he calls it? Not after the blow he had been dealt by a violent ginger hoppy. It does hurt me. Oh yeah, with Rebecca. It does hurt me to see her so upset because of something I've said. One can't always get his or her way though. At least society would like you to believe in order to soften the blow of disappointment. And I'll have to take the side on that just this once. She's wearing that necklace though. Pulling her in for a hug and a peck on the cheek, I'm quick to pull away before I change my mind and make it more than that. I can at least give her
Chin up and
those.
smile. You'll get wrinkles frowning like that. And beauty sleep helps.
Of course, my prince. I suppose I can do with the sleep.
Plus her eyes are fucking glazing over. That smile that lights up on her face is enough to make me forget about the oddity that had just transpired. I still don't understand this whole prince thing though, and I'll let it slide for now. Seeing her with her golden locks and that silver dress, it almost makes her queenly, with her due respect to her majesty, of course. Despite that, there's just something
Hana, before
off.
I go, what happened to your necklace? The blue diamond.
Well, you're gonna have to find out next episode.